I think Hizmet is the best manifestation of what Islam ought to be and the way people ought to live it. Claiming a faith and religion is one thing. Giving slogans and bragging about religious identity, that's something else. But acting upon a commitment to humanity, acting upon serving humanity, that's what Hizmet means literally, and that's what the Hizmet Movement do. And I think that's the best manifestation, and ever since I found out about the organization, I've fallen in love with them. If you define terrorism correctly, literally and etymologically, it is to strike fear into the hearts of those who are the least prepared. Nobody in life prepares to be frightened. But when civilians are targeted by anybody, that is terrorism. I think that if we act upon, or if we define terrorism not as a slogan, but as a substance of what it is, I think that more terrorism or acts of terrorism are committed by governments than by groups. The reason could be that they have more power, they have more weapons, and they have more publicity and propaganda where they can deflect the blame to others. There's no denying that there are terrorist organizations, but there's also no denying that there are terrorist governments. In other words, in terms of what pain and suffering they inflict on innocent and unprepared citizens, there is no greater terrorism than that. And in my view, I think there is also a paradox in the claim. And as I said, that because governments do have the media at their disposal or as their extension to make their point across, if overnight 50,000 people are arrested, detained, imprisoned, and if overnight more than 100,000 people are detained and lose their job, that ought to be one hell of a terrorist-making factory. And I don't think any society, any organization is capable of, especially that this is the heart and soul of the Turkish society. These were people who built Turkey's economy, Turkey's society, when Turkey was winning award after award and performing excellent in terms of its economic progress compared to other European countries. It was due to this backbone of the Turkish society, primarily the civil society. And I think if we can speak of through an analogy, that there are sometimes monsters that end up eating their own children. I think the current Turkish government, analogously speaking, is that monster. That it's in a kind of self-destructive mode. And like I said, terrorism has to be defined by action. And right now, there are more civilians threatened by the actions, repression, and suppression of the government. That ought to be defined as terrorism, not what the Hizmet Movement does. I've been in touch with the Hizmet Movement, and I've seen them work around the world in more than 100 countries. That is the best model of any human, regardless of what ideology, what religion you follow. And I think that we have this very bright star shining, creating that role model for the Muslim community at large. And I'm afraid that it's kind of fading. And that is really worrisome, because after a long time, we had all our hopes up, and now we are all being terrorized one way or another.